Home Decor How-To. Welcome to our Home Decor 101. Renee and myself are here. We're both past teachers, so we're going to walk you through the process.
Yep, Accessories 101.
Here we go. So, after the sofa and the coffee table are in place,
Yep.
you get home, you look around and go, it looks so good in the showroom.
Yep.
And now, what do I do? A lot of people, they turn around, they go home onto the TV, flick on the latest home improvement show,
Yep.
and they grab a whole bunch of stuff and they throw it into the room, and 30 seconds later, it looks fantastic.
Yep, there you go. It's that easy. Is it?
Not really. It does take a little bit of work, and we're going to help walk you through that today.
Yep, we'll give you some tips and tricks to help you make your living room beautiful.
Now, it is an inexpensive way to make your room beautiful, because usually the cost is into the big pieces.
That's right.
Your sofa, your coffee table, your bedroom, your dining. The little things can help bring everything together, look nice, and doesn't usually cost a lot.
So, tip number 1 is...
You want to choose a quality piece versus a quantity.
Okay.
A lot of people will grab a whole bunch of things, shove them into a room, and say they're done. Not necessarily the way you want to go.
That's right. Yep.
Finding a nice piece that has some great quality, such as these blue vases off to the side, are a great example.
So when you take a look at this vase, it has 2 types of finishes. It has a glazed finish on the bottom and then a matte finish on top. And the bottom piece is all symmetrically done.
And that's going to allow, with having those different finishes, the light is going to bounce off it differently from the top than down at the mid section. So in summary, for tip number 1, you want to avoid creating a clutter. That defeats the purpose of decorating. You want to pick pieces that you find inspiring, that you like, that you can reflect upon down the road. Tip number 2, size does matter.
That's right. This is most obvious with rugs and artwork. Too small of a rug makes it kind of look like you were too cheap to get the bigger one, and too big looks like you have something to hide.
You want just that right size to balance off the room. Hey, great time for a pro tip. Any tips you can give us in terms of helping figure out size of rug when we're shopping?
Yeah, actually, one thing that we did when we were trying to figure out a rug for our living room is we laid down a bed sheet.
Nice.
So we knew the size of the bed sheet, and then we just folded it where we thought, oh yeah, a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger, and we measured that, and that's how we figured out the size
would be good.
that would be work for that room for a rug.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And you can also do that for art.
Yes, absolutely.
You could cut out a piece of cardboard, the size you're thinking, start putting it up on the wall to give you an idea of how much space you want to fill with that.
That's right, yep.
So you don't want to go too big and overpower, but you don't want to go too small that it looks like you missed something.
That's right.
Balancing it.
Yep. Tip number 3, texture versus color.
Right, texture versus color. A lot of people get caught up in always having to add color into their room and they're forgetting about texture. You can actually have the same color with different texture finishes to provide that variance. Having a beige sofa with pops of color, or even having the same color with big chunky woven pillows with it, throws in a different type of knit, will provide that feeling.
Yep.
Add that with a wire brush coffee table in a nice, chocolate brown or a dark gray, which will look great for years to come, will give a nice feeling.
Absolutely. And if you love color, add it in with your smaller accessories in your room.
Easy to change as the seasons do.
On to tip number 4, the balancing act.
So when placing items, the rule of thumb is usually odd numbers.
You got it, yep.
So they're recommending, 3 or 5 is the symmetry to go for.
Yep, see, for example, this coffee table, it has a nice, beautiful decorative box, and then it has 4 other smaller items, which is 5.
So you could have 3 vases in 3 different heights and a large box over on the other side to give that feel for you. Pro tip, vases.
Yes,
Vases are very popular.
you got it. All different sizes of vases these days are extremely popular.
So, pro tip for if you have a tall vase that's a little bit tippy, take a Ziploc bag, fill it with sand, put it in the bottom.
That's a great tip.
Tip number 5, go big or go home.
No, that's not it at all. Try again.
Okay, tip 5, big to small.
Yep.
Room for it all. When decorating, you always want to start with the large pieces. So if it's accessories, you want to start with the larger pieces and then work around from that. If it's the smaller ones,
Yep. If you choose to do smaller to medium pieces, just make sure that you leave enough space for each of them.
room for everybody.
That's it.
But what happens when they're not all big, they're all the same size?
If you see, for example, I have two vases. They are actually two of the same vases, but what we did is flip a planter upside down just to give the second one a little more height. Shows that there's two different options for it.
You could even take an old book or something.
Yep.
Character book. Last but not least,
Yes.
tip number 6.
Yep. Form and function.
So we want to have stuff that's not only that has a purpose, but actually looks good too.
Absolutely.
So if you have magazines in the house,
Yep.
have a nice basket that you can put them into, or this wire one here for pillows. It's a great piece to put stuff into, and it looks nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I love having several of these around my house. I have kids and we have toys, and to put the toys in here, they're out of the way, but it still looks nice.
Excellent choice. Now, I know we don't have any lights in this vignette, but that's another great piece that you can turn around and take a functioning piece and make it look beautiful.
Absolutely. There's a lot of gorgeous lamps out there, floor lamps, table lamps that could help create that nice warm space for you.
You need to have it in the room anyways. Might as well look good. Another great thing when you're going for a higher quality item, you can get something a lot more personal.
Absolutely.
So creating that personal space
Yep.
for yourself, because in the end, it is your home. You have to love it.
Yep.
I'm looking at this little dinosaur over here, and I know with some nephews, they would think that is pretty cool, and you could do so much decorating around that.
Absolutely. It'd be a conversation piece for sure in your home.
So creating your own style, mixing in vintage and modern, is totally fine. If you have a memorabilia piece that you have from your great-grandma and you want to add that in there, feel free to do so. In the end, it's still your room. You want to make it feeling good for yourself and at home. So in summary, those are our 6 tips.
Yep.
From choosing a quality piece to size that matters to texture versus color.
To the balancing act of choosing odd number of pieces, to big to small, and form and function.
So these are just guidelines, guys. They're not hard, fast rules. In the end, it's your space. You gotta love it. We're just here to help make the most of your time as well as your space.